This is the iPhone SE 2020. I've been using it for about 3 months now. Purchased it at the end of July and it's now at the end of October. And I just wanted to give my thoughts on this phone and how it's been holding up. So why did I buy this phone when I already had a perfectly usable Android phone? So my original intent was to use the iPhone SE as the iPhone to pair with my Apple Watch, as it is the least expensive one, and I didn't want to spend a whole bunch of money to get into the Apple Watch game. And I could make a whole other video about the Apple Watch, but that's really why I wanted the iPhone SE. Basically, you need an iPhone device in order for it to work. The Apple Watch does not work by itself. I just want to talk about if this was worth it and how I feel about using it after a couple of months. So a little background, I am a longtime Android user. In fact, I've never actually used an iPhone as my daily driver before, so this is a first for me. I'm coming from a series of Android devices, the latest of which is the OnePlus 6T. Yeah, coming from an Android perspective, definitely I still prefer Android in terms of navigating around the phone. So that's very subjective, but that's just what I found in using the phone for 3 months. So as an Android user, was it worth it to get the iPhone SE in order to use the Apple Watch? While I like the Apple Watch, I am not in love with the iPhone SE. I don't like iOS. I've gave it a 3 months chance and I found that I've been carrying the Android phone to use with the iPhone SE as the thing providing internet. The real reasons why you would want to get an iPhone SE is if you don't do too much on your phone, if you just plan to do some simple things like texting, maybe take a couple of pictures, FaceTiming with your friends that have FaceTime or your family, that's really a good use for it. And also if you have an Apple Watch or plan to get an Apple Watch, the iPhone SE would be the phone to get it if you don't want to buy the more high-end iPhones. The iPhone SE or even the iPhone 12, I guess nowadays, would get you into there. If all you did was spend time just texting on it, the iPhone SE isn't too bad, but as soon as you start watching videos and browsing Reddit, then that's where you run into problems. Not problems, but it's just not the most fun experience. It's definitely better to use a larger screen for that kind of stuff. That's really everything in a nutshell. There's little quibbles about the phone itself too. Like the fingerprint sensor works for the most part, but it doesn't work if your fingers are slightly oily or if they are wet. For example, if I'm eating chips, finger gets oily, the fingerprint sensor doesn't work in that case. Or if I'm working out and my fingers are sweaty from riding the bicycle and I want to check my phone quickly, I find that I'm fumbling with the fingerprint sensor in order to unlock the phone. Now, people who shouldn't get this phone, anyone who is accustomed to a larger screen device will not be satisfied with the iPhone SE screen. Anyone who is accustomed to an Android device will probably struggle with iOS in terms of if they spent a lot of time configuring the Android device to their personal preference. The iOS device definitely lags in that department. So in general, the smaller form factor phone is for people that want a phone but don't want to do too much on their phones. The smaller screen is definitely a little bit less satisfying to use than a larger screen phone for media consumption, for watching YouTube videos, for scrolling through news articles. It's just not as satisfying an experience than something with a larger screen. There's basically less content that you can fit on the screen, but that's obvious. So I guess I'll just keep using this for the time being since I paid, even though it's the cheapest model, it's still expensive. I'll be using it for at least another year. But yeah, it's not the most satisfying phone I've ever had. So it kind of hurts that I have to carry around two devices. I'm still trying to wean myself off of the Android phone, but anytime I want to do any of that media consumption, anytime I want to watch YouTube videos, I tend to pick up the larger screen phone for that. So yeah, to sum it up, I give it a out of 10 in terms of how I rate this phone for my usage. It does the job, but it's definitely not the most satisfying phone experience out there. I'm still not quite sure how I feel about this yet, so this video will come across as bouncing all over the place. So in the meantime, catch you later. Hi.
Hi. I'm waving.
You're waving.